Stop buying arthritis gadgets at random. Almost every one of them was built for a different hand than yours, and that's the real reason the last one let you down. Here's what nobody tells you. There are 7 levels of kitchen tools, and each one takes over more of the job than the last. You only need the level that matches what your hand actually can't do. Buy below it, and you're still struggling. Buy above it, and you just dropped $50 on a machine a $10 tool would have handled. This ladder follows the basic approach occupational therapists use. Find the exact motion that's failing, then pick the simplest tool that replaces it. It's the same thing families figure out the hard way, one wasted purchase at a time. Whether it's osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, a Parkinson's tremor, or a hand recovering from a stroke, the move is the same. By the end of this, you'll place yourself on the ladder in under a minute, and you'll know the one tool that belongs there. We're climbing all 7, from the bottom rung, where the smartest thing you can do is buy almost nothing, up to the tool that quietly does the whole job when you've only got one working hand. That top rung is the one nobody explains properly, so stick around for it. That's the whole channel, by the way. We match the tool to the hand so you stop wasting money. One idea carries the entire climb. Watch where the force goes. Every level up, the tool takes a little more of the work off your hand. A better handle, then traction, then a strap, then leverage, then a redesigned motion, then a motor, and finally a board that becomes your second hand. And your level can change by task. You might be level 2 for jars, level 5 for cutting, and level 6 for cans. The right rung is always the lowest one that removes the motion, giving you trouble. Let's start at the bottom. Level 1, better handles for mild stiffness. Level 1 is mild stiffness. Your hands ache a little, maybe worse in the morning, but they still do what you ask. At this level, you may not need specialized equipment at all. You just need better versions of what you already own, and the tool that defines it is the OXO Good Grips Peeler. Here's the quick version. OXO began after Sam Farber watched his wife, Betsy, who had arthritis, struggle with an ordinary peeler. He brought in a design firm called Smart Design with one rule: make it work for arthritic hands without being awkward for anyone else. That fat, soft, non-slip handle is exactly the kind of easy-to-hold design the Arthritis Foundation highlights for people with rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis, comfortable without looking clinical. Now the catch. At this level, the handle is doing the work, not the blade. A $2 metal peeler cuts just as well. So you're paying for comfort, which for mildly stiff hands is worth it. Just know that's what you're buying. If a jar lid stops you cold, no matter how comfortable the handle is, you've climbed to level 2. Level 2, traction and seal breaking. Level 2, your hand still has enough strength, but smooth objects keep slipping. A jar lid, a bottle cap, a bowl that spins while you stir. You don't need more strength, you need traction and a way to beat a seal. 2 cheap things own this level. First, for jars, a jar key. It's a little hook, around $10, and you slip it under the edge of the lid until the vacuum seal pops with a quiet hiss. Once that seal breaks, the lid usually spins off, with almost nothing left to fight. Most people wrestle the whole lid when the seal was the only real problem. Second, for everything that slides, a non-slip mat. Occupational therapists reach for a grippy material called Dim, and it's the durable, reusable standard. But here's your money saver, because the branded version is pricey and sometimes gated as a medical item. For light household tasks, a strip of rubbery shelf liner or a damp rubber band around a lid can give you enough traction at a fraction of the price. Lay a mat under your mixing bowl, and one hand is suddenly free. That's the theme of this level. Add grip, not muscle. But traction does nothing once you can't hold the tool at all. And that's the next rung. Level 3, built up and stabilized. Holding the tool is the problem. Level 3 is about holding, not force. You may still have plenty of arm strength, but your fingers can't reliably hang onto a narrow tool. Here's a quick way to know you're on it. Hold a fork loosely, the way you'd rest it in your hand, and try to keep it steady. If it slips or twists, unless you clamp down hard, then holding the tool has become the problem, not using it. The first fix is built-up handles, fat, light grips. You slide onto your own utensils so you can hold them with a loose hand instead of a tight pinch. And you do not need a branded set. $1 of foam tubing on your own fork does the same job as a $40 adaptive kit, and that's your money saver here. One tip, don't overshoot, because too thick is just as awkward as too thin. The handle still has to fit your hand. But if your grip is nearly gone, a fatter handle isn't enough, because it still needs some grip to work. That's where the real tool for this level comes in, the universal cuff. It's a simple strap that holds a fork or spoon flat against your palm, so the utensil stays put with no grip at all. A current one from North Coast Medical is around $20. This is the first rung that stops asking your fingers to close, which is exactly why it's the answer after a stroke, a spinal cord injury, or advanced rheumatoid arthritis, when the hand simply can't grip anymore. One honest note, a simple silicone utensil strap may cover the same basic need for some people, though a proper cuff holds more securely when grip is severely limited. Level 4, leverage. Twisting and squeezing hurt. Level 4 is a different problem entirely. You can still hold a tool and position it fine, but twisting a lid or forcing a blade through something tough sends a jolt through your knuckles or the base of your thumb. This is the rung for thumb arthritis and carpal tunnel, where the pain is about force, not holding. Here's a safe way to check. Think back to the last time you opened a tight jar or squeezed a stiff pair of scissors. If the pain showed up at the base of your thumb or in your wrist, rather than your fingertips, leverage is the missing piece. Leverage tools all work the same way: long handles and a pivot that multiply the little force you've got. That family includes lever-style jar and bottle openers and long-handled kitchen shears. A good everyday example is a pair of spring-loaded shears, which let you snip through packaging, herbs, and tough vegetables with a gentle squeeze instead of a hard grip. The OXO Good Grips version is around $30 and locks shut for storage. And here's the honest part. This is a rung where people panic and jump straight to a $60 electric gadget when a simple lever tool was all their hands needed. Cheaper spring shears exist for around $10. And for light jobs, the lever geometry is what matters, not an adaptive logo. Just match the tool to the task. A light pair for snipping, a sturdier one for anything dense. That's 4 rungs up, the halfway mark. And it's the natural line where the tools stop being simple and start doing real work for you. If you're finding your level as we climb, take a second to subscribe. It's how these guides reach the people who need them, and the next teardown lands right in your feed. Now the tools that take over the job almost completely. Level 5, motion redesign. Level 5 is when the motion itself is the enemy. Not the force, not the holding, the actual movement your hand has to make. And a stroke survivor described the fix perfectly, calling it a game changer, the thing that let him eat a real dinner again, especially the tough stuff like chicken and steak. That tool is the rocker knife. A normal knife makes you grip hard, steady your wrist, and saw back and forth. The rocker knife throws that motion out. The blade is curved, so you press straight down and roll it through the food using the weight of your arm, wrist staying neutral. Occupational therapists and certified hand therapists point to this as the goal. And activities of daily living adaptation that swaps a painful motion for an easy one. It's around $14 and goes straight in the dishwasher. The same idea rescues scissors. Regular scissors make you do 2 motions, squeeze to cut, then pry the blades back open, and for arthritic fingers, that reopening is often the part that hurts. Self-opening scissors, like the PETA Easy Grip pair, have a spring that reopens the blades for you, so all you do is squeeze. Quick self-test. Next time you use scissors, notice whether it's the cutting or the reopening that stings. If it's the reopening, this is your rung. One catch that matters for later: the rocker knife cuts one-handed. But it can't hold the food still, so true one-handed use needs something at the top of this ladder. Hold that thought. Level 6, powered assistance. Level 6, you can still position and control a tool, but you can't generate enough force or repeat the motion long enough to finish the job. So you stop supplying the force and let a motor do it. The self-test is blunt. If seasoning a plate means twisting a pepper mill until your thumb aches and you give up early, or dicing an onion by hand is exhausting before the onion's done, you're on the powered rung. Start small. An electric salt and pepper mill, like the BN Link Gravity set at around $20 for 2, grinds at the tilt of your wrist, with no twisting at all. For chopping, a small corded food processor, like the Cuisin Art Mini Prep, takes over the chopping itself at one push of a button. No knife and no exposed blade, which is a real safety win for Parkinson's disease or essential tremor. It's around $50, though honestly, a $15 mini chopper does the same job. You're paying for durability, not for more help. For cans specifically, an electric can opener. But here's your buyer beware. Straight from Consumer Reports testing. The cheap handheld battery openers are the trap. They've dropped cans mid-cut and left sharp, crimped edges. Spend a little more for a reliable countertop one, because at this level, a tool that fails is a tool that cuts you. Level 7, true one-handed systems. One hand in the game. Level 7, the top of the ladder. This is for one working hand, a strong tremor, or life after a stroke. When the challenge isn't force at all, it's that you've only got one hand in the game. The tool that defines it is the one-handed cutting board. Remember, the rocker knife needed something to hold the food. This is it. Spikes hold the food. A raised corner guard braces bread so it can't slide. Suction feet lock the board down. And the best ones add a small vise that grips a bowl or a jar. The whole board becomes your missing hand, doing the gripping and the fine motor, holding your second hand used to. A solid one is around $100, and it's worth it here, because the spikes, the corner guard, and the suction base all have to hold reliably when a slip means a cut. That's exactly what a properly made board is built and finished to do. The same principle covers the rest of the meal. A scoop plate, a normal-looking plate with one high curved wall and a suction base, lets you eat one-handed without chasing food around the rim. And an under-cabinet opener grips a jar lid, so you only need one hand to turn the jar. One last warning, because this is where the marketing lies hardest. The second a product promises automatic or hands-free, watch the demo, because half of them still quietly need the second hand you don't have. The one honest gap up here is a fully automatic jar opener that holds and twists the jar for you. The best ones are discontinued now, so that job still isn't cleanly solved. So that's the ladder. 7 levels, each one taking over a little more of the job, from a better peeler to a board that becomes your second hand. And here's the whole point. Your level can change by task. You might sit at level 2 for jars and level 6 for cans. And that's completely normal. The right rung is always the lowest one that removes the motion giving you trouble. Anything below it leaves you struggling. Anything above it is money and machinery you never needed. Prices move, so I keep the current ones and the links for every level down in the description. plus the exact things to search for, so you're not left hunting. If this helped you find your level, or helped you shop for someone you love, subscribe to Grip Smart Guide. Next time, we're taking the single most frustrating job in the kitchen, opening packaging, and finding the few tools that actually work when your hands don't.